So the Atlantean Empire, what is it? Where is it? Is the capital city to be found in the Richat structure? The evidence for Atlantis is very apparent. If you consider the evidence presented recently by Bright Insight, then you could be forgiven for thinking Atlantis is found. But what about the anomalies in the Bermuda Triangle, the underwater pyramids at Cuba, or the enormous underwater structure at Japan? What Jimmy may have discovered is Plato's description of the capital city of Atlantis. Plato acquired his knowledge almost by birthright. Information passed down through the ages was still very accurate, but lost in the burning of the Great Library. We may have discovered the center of this great civilization in the form of the Richat structure, but Atlantis was a global empire, right? What about Egypt? Egypt was part of the Atlantean Empire, and all the glory of this ancient civilization is still on show. But we keep searching. Why? Because Atlantis was global. It was not one 40-kilometer wide city. It was a global empire, and remnants of this ancient civilization can be found in every part of planet Earth. According to Plato, Atlantis was a great island larger than Libya and Asia combined in the Atlantic Ocean, but its control extended beyond the Pillars of Hercules into the Mediterranean as far as Egypt and Italy. Its powerful and remarkable dynasty of kings arose directly from Poseidon, god of sea and of earthquakes, though this divine and heroic lineage gradually became diluted by mixing with mortal stock. The resulting degeneration of this noble civilization led it into a war with its former ally Athens, and culminated in its cataclysmic destruction, which Plato dates as 9,000 years previously. Of the destruction itself, Plato simply notes, "Sometime later there were earthquakes and floods of extraordinary violence, and in a single dreadful day and night all your life-fighting men were swallowed up by the earth, and the island of Atlantis was similarly swallowed up by the sea and vanished." While the bulk of Plato's accounts of Atlantis details its physical and political layout, its location and the nature of its destructions warrant only a few hundred words. It is a meager foundation for the weights of subsequent theories and speculation on which the modern controversy is based. Anywho, onward and upward, guys, so wait till you hear this. Below the Utah-New Mexico border, running along the western edge of sprawling Navajo, Havasupai, and Halopai reservation lands, the Colorado River has patiently carved a geological masterpiece, the Grand Canyon. Despite the extreme desert climate, native people have inhabited the region for centuries. Dominating the landscape beyond the Rocky Mountains, the immense Colorado Plateau stretches 130,000 square miles from the Wyoming border to the north, the Arizona-Nevada border to the east, and beyond the Four Corners region along the Colorado-New Mexico border further east. A thorough exploration of the region would take months, even years. The Grand Canyon alone could take weeks to explore, beyond requisite tourist attractions. The Havasupai people have lived in the canyon for at least 800 years and have successfully fought for restoration of tribal lands taken by the federal government. A travertine dome near the confluence of the Colorado and Little Colorado rivers is believed to be the Sipapu, or place of emergence, by native people. This sacred formation is nameless, simply referred to as Sipapu by indigenous people. Tribal leaders prefer to keep this location private. Few locations on the planet can rival this amazing great wound in the earth, as it was described to Francisco Vázquez de Coronado by the Hopi in 1540, said Christopher O'Brien, a journalist and investigator who has explored the canyon and its legends for years. The first documented white man to lay sight on the confluence area in Marble Canyon was Seth Tanner, a Mormon pioneer married to a Hopi woman. While he had good relations with the Navajo and Hopi tribes in the region, when the Hopi learned he had seen the sacred site, they blinded him. His life was spared because of his Hopi wife, but he was told that if he spoke of what he saw, his tongue would be cut out. Then there's the astonishing geology, hoodoos, towering mesa, land bridges, and ancient Vishnu scheists. We will get back to that anomaly at the end of the video. the basement rock found on the canyon floor, 1.8 billion years old. But this isn't the only example of geological features with names from myth and exotic pantheons. There are also Brahma and Ramesses, Babylon Cave, Isis Temple, and the Pyramid, a natural pyramid formed by long, slow erosion. Other pyramid formations bear names like Apollo's Temple, Buddha Cloister, or the Tabernacle. While some speculate that these commanding geologic formations were engineered by something other than nature, there is simply no indisputable proof. One theory is that these monoliths were built by an ancient civilization and over time were buried in sediment. The Colorado River eventually washed away the sediment, revealing the ancient formations. G.E. Kinkaid, born in 1863 in the then wilds of Idaho, was a hunter, explorer, and erstwhile archaeologist. For 30 years, he had explored the West for the then young Smithsonian Institute under Professor S.A. Jordan, ostensibly employed by the Institute. In 1909, he embarked on a journey down the Colorado River in 1909 in a wooden skiff, a less than ideal boat for navigating the river. Starting from the Green River in Wyoming, Kinkaid traveled down the Colorado looking for mineral. Like others exploring for gold in the main canyon and secondary tributaries such as the Little Colorado Canyon, he described when reaching Marble Canyon near the confluence of the Colorado and Little Colorado rivers in 1908, an area where there were stains in the sedimentary formation, roughly 2,000 feet above the riverbed. Geographers estimate that Kinkaid was about mile 56 of the river. Somehow Kinkaid scaled the 2,000 feet with great difficulty, hauling his camera and glass plates with him. According to the April 9th, 1909 Arizona Gazette, Kinkaid discovered a cave entrance. Upon entering, he discovered what was called the most important archaeological find in North America. Called an underground citadel, the cave was reportedly vast with hundreds of chambers filled with mummies and artifacts that appeared to be Egyptian in origin. He described a cross hall with a Buddha-like idol sitting cross-legged with a flower in each hand, carved out of the chamber walls. Additionally, Kinkaid reported vases or urns of copper and gold, enameled and glazed vessels, granaries filled with seed, burial chambers filled with sarcophagi, and countless other wonders. According to the story, Kinkaid left the location and arrived in Yuma, Arizona, shortly after the story was published in the Arizona Gazette. There are rumors of the Smithsonian sending a team of 30 to explore and document the amazing find, but no evidence remains. Shortly after, news stories regarding the discovery evaporated into silence. When queried later, Smithsonian officials denied institutional relationships with Kinkaid or Professor S.A. Jordan. The site and its surroundings in Marble Canyon were reportedly acquired by the U.S. government and declared off-limits to visitors. A metaphorical door slammed on the entire topic. But stories have persisted, and many claim to know the location of the entrance, called Kinkaid's Door. Theories and speculation about a cover-up abound. Is there remnants of the Atlantean Empire within the Great Canyon? And what about the Garden of Eden? The Garden of Eden is a central theme in the Old Testament, a gorgeous utopia where everything is beautiful and perfect, untouched by the sins of man. It all sounds too perfect, doesn't it? This concept of an idyllic, pristine paradise isn't exclusive to Christianity. The Sumerians called it Dulmun, while the Greeks referred to it as the Garden of the Hesperides. There are more than just a few details about the garden that overlap between cultures, which leaves room for speculation and exploration. Is this paradise a mere myth, or did it actually exist? If it did exist, where was it located? Scientists, philosophers, and laypeople have spent centuries searching for the elusive Garden of Eden location. While we still don't know exactly where it was, or if it even existed, it offers interesting theories to explore. You should also check out Enigma Seeker's videos on the subject. In Genesis 2, 8-14, the garden is described as being near the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Based on this information, we can safely assume the Garden of Eden was located somewhere in the Middle East, specifically in an area known as the Fertile Crescent, which included Mesopotamia. Because the Bible describes the garden as bountiful, its correlation to the Fertile Crescent makes sense. This region was very uncharacteristic of the surrounding desert. With moist soil and abundant water, it eventually became an epicenter for agriculture. However, these same Bible verses mentions two other mysterious rivers, the Pison and the Gihon. These rivers may or may not exist today, and scholars have struggled throughout the ages to determine their locations. Richat structure, perhaps? Many Ethiopians believe the Gihon is the modern-day Blue Nile, one of the major tributaries of the Nile, although this has never been proven. Similarly, the location of the Pison remains unknown, though some believe it to be the modern-day Ganges, and others believe it to be the Nile. It is unclear. In addition to Christians, there are other groups of people who have their own stories of a similarly idyllic paradise. Shambhala is a utopian kingdom that is a focal point of the Tibetan Hindu and Buddhist movements. It's a place where people coexist together in harmony and enlightenment. Unlike the Garden of Eden, Shambhala seems to be centered more so around an idea rather than a physical place. In Eastern religions, the core concepts of Shambhala, harmony, enlightenment, and wisdom can be achieved virtually anywhere, at any time, through mindfulness and meditation. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the utopian garden is referred to as the Garden of the Gods and is located near the Euphrates and Tigris rivers. The epic describes a plant of life which parallels the tree of life in the book of Genesis and allegedly provides eternal life. When Gilgamesh learns of the plant's power to provide everlasting youth, he attempts to take it. However, a serpent thwarts his efforts and steals the plant from Gilgamesh while he is camping. It is then that Gilgamesh understands his mortality and accepts that he cannot live forever. Ancient Greek folklore refers to the garden as the Garden of the Hesperides. Similar to the biblical tale, this garden is associated with a fruit-bearing tree and a serpent. According to Greek mythology, the Garden of Hesperides is located at the northern edge of the world. Its name comes from the nymphs who reside there, the Hesperides, who were daughters of a god called Atlas. The Hesperides, along with a serpent named Ladon, guarded the tree and its forbidden fruit, which belonged to Zeus. There are some clear parallels between these legends and those that appear in the Bible. Is this merely a coincidence, or is it possible such a utopian place existed? While the mystery of the Garden of Eden prevails, so too does the quest for truth. We have forgotten the most important part of our story, guys. The ancients reached through time to remind us of something. The codes are ancient and still exist in the great realm. It's up to us to open our minds and seek out these truths. Is there a physical gateway as well as astral passage? Well, the answer may surprise you. Ever heard about the Gateway of the Gods? The city of the gods, high in the mountains of Peru, is home to one of these suspected stargates. Due to rocky mountain terrain and protection from the Peruvian government as an ancient archaeological site, it has gone vastly unexplored. Researchers still aren't certain whether or not this area actually contained a settlement, but the rock formations bear an interesting resemblance to dwellings and structures. The Gate of the Gods was discovered in 1996 by Jose Luis Delgado Mamani, a local tour guide who came upon the place as he hiked through the local foothills to familiarize himself with the area. As he approached the massive gateway nestled into the rock formation, he was overcome with recognition. He had seen this very gateway before in his dreams. For years, a pink marble gateway with a similar insert door which emanated a mysterious blue light had presented itself to him while he slept, and the moment of discovery overwhelmed him almost to the point of fainting. How could this be just a fantastic coincidence? The native peoples of Lake Titicaca, Panu, and the rest of the surrounding region had long retold a myth about a mysterious doorway that led to the lands of the gods. Heroes in ancient times were witnessed entering into the beyond through this door to join their deities once their time on this earth had come to an end. The legend also mentioned these same great men re-entering through the same gate with their gods beside them to check in on the lives of those they'd left behind. It also told a prophecy. Someday in the future, the gate would open much bigger than it actually is and allow the gods to return to their sun ships. All of this and more raced through Mamani's mind as he beheld this magnificent structure outside of his dreams for the first time. This gateway was carved from the rock face, standing 7 meters high by 7 meters wide, with a smaller door insert at the base. In the center of the smaller door was a circular depression, and it was soon discovered that this alluded to yet another myth involving an ancient Incan priest fleeing for his life from Spanish conquistadors. The priest of Temple of the Seven Rays snatched up the precious golden disc known as the Key of the Gods of the Seven Rays when the pillaging pirates arrived to plunder everything for themselves and fled into the mountains of Hayu Marca. He came across the Gateway of the Gods, which was being watchfully guarded by shaman priest. Whether in desperation for the fleeing priest's life or for protection for his people against the marauders, the shaman noticed the golden disc proved to fit perfectly into the molded depression within the smaller door. They gazed in awe as the portal opened. Pale blue light bathed the reddened rocks as it yawned wide. Lest the golden key be lost, the Incan priest Amaru Ramu relinquished it and stepped through the gateway, never to be seen again. Once he recognized the portal from his dreams, Mamani immediately contacted archaeological experts in the surrounding villages of La Paz, Puno, and Lima. Within hours, the site was crawling with Incan historians and scientists who were familiar with the legends swirling about the area. Despite allegations of the gateway being a portal to other worlds, whether leading to numerous tunnels harbored inside the mountain or capable of transporting humans and other beings into other dimensions, the scientists remained skeptical. The gate appeared to be carved as one structure from the rock with no gap that would indicate it as a door being visible. According to some of the research party, by placing their hands on the door, they could feel a subtle energy pulsing from the inside. Some heard strange rhythmic music. Others claimed they saw visions of columns of fire and things beyond this world. What struck the scientists most was the massive doorway bore a striking resemblance to another structure attributed with Stargate capabilities, the Gate of the Sun in Tiwanaku, Bolivia, as well as 5 other archaeological points, all connected in a grid-like pattern whose lines intersected exactly where the plateau and Lake Titicaca happened to be. Locals also claim to have witnessed significant UFO activity, such as twinkling blue lights and white glowing disc, signs of ancient advanced technology in Peru, or something even more out of the ordinary. The majority of these sites remain vastly unexplained by modern science, and perhaps that's a large part of their allure. Whether alien portals to alternate universes, passages through which gods can reappear and humans can disappear, or simply an ancient structure designed for rituals and worship, these strange formations continue to intrigue us to this day. It is as if the ancients are speaking to us in this moment in time. Also guys, before we wrap up this video, we just wanted to show you one last image. This is called Elephant Rock, and it is found in Grand Canyon National Park. We just wanted to touch on the fact that this looks like a machine part of sorts that has become petrified over a very long time. On the left-hand side, it is almost like it was broken and abandoned here. The left possibly was the same as the right arm at one point, and the middle bit was the machine that maneuvered this thing. It is almost like you can see fittings and brackets in this thing, and you can even see as to how it would have moved. It's crazy. This anomaly is millions of years old. What do you guys make of this? Is it just a natural formation, or is this an ancient machine? Let us know. What do you guys think of this anyway? Comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.